Good afternoon, everyone. David Atkins, target individual. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about the total individual control technology, and I'm going to be merging a video in uh, um, of people talking about this technology. But I'm just going to give you a definition and a few techniques of what it does. It's very important to know this. A lot of people wonder how this stuff works and all this, and don't believe it's advanced and all that. Well, you got another thing coming. You got to remember, we're way more advanced than 50 years more advanced than stuff we even know about. So there's no telling. We only know about remote neural monitoring, V2K, the biofield, and all that. Man, they're way more ahead than that. They're just not letting us know their hand. Kind of like the EEG mind reading or whatever. I forgot what they're called. They're some kind of headphones you got to put on and they read your Man, they're way more advanced than that. They don't need that. They can remotely read your brain waves. So they feed you this little information and keep you dumbed down. And the sad thing about this is this technology I'm fixing to explain here is going to get rolled out on the whole population eventually. As far as how I'm doing, heavy V2K, uh, pumping voices, stressful situations, down to downplaying and telling me I'm gonna kill my cat and all that. I would never do that. Um, heavy hits to the back of the head, brain. I've been sweating profusely a lot. Vibrations throughout my whole body and shocks to the back of my brain. Heavy fatigue, vertigo lately, been having severe vertigo lately. Uh, Man, I just feel like I'm in microwave soup. Um, so anyway, all right, let's get on to the video. And like I said, after I do my video, um, I'm gonna after I do my video, I'm gonna merge another video in. It's got Brian Colfern. I can't think of that dude's name. About five different people's in this video describing the same technology I'm fixing to read. You know, Mm. So we can do this Bible test. This Bible thing where I just open up the Bible anywhere and read it. It says, therefore, if you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, of any comfort from his love, of any common sharing in the Spirit, of any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit, one of mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each you to the interest of the others. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus. And this comes from Philippians 2, 1 through 6. Okay. And I should have some interviews coming up. Somebody canceled on me this week, so that's why I didn't do one today. I got one for sure Saturday, and I should have another one this week sometime. Okay. This total individual control is so advanced it can be used to read your mind, program your mind with thoughts that you would believe are your own, and induce emotional states, including pain, hate, and fear. It can be used to tap into your optical nerve and auditory systems to see and hear what you're seeing and hearing. It can target particular people. Hold on. It can target particular people by engaging in individual specific attacks based on the target's DNA resonance. And you got to understand, a lot of people's like, oh, I don't want to type my password in because they're looking through my eyes. Yes, they can see through your eyes, but they don't have people looking through your eyes 24/7. I'm sorry, it's not how it works. They just don't have manpower to do that. So, unless they're looking through your eyes, unless you put a password in or writing something down when they happen to be looking through your eyes, then that's a different story. But there's nobody sitting back 20. I just don't believe it. I've seen too many glitches in this matrix, where if they'd have seen through my eyes, I wouldn't have had certain things happen. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand to see, yeah, they can see through somebody's eyes, but nobody's sitting there 24 hours on each target watching, looking through his eyes. Okay. Finally, it's being used for social engineering programs as a way to experiment upon poor, homeless, and weak people who have little or no chance of fighting back. In interviews or presentations such as this, technology is being used by psychopaths who have little scruples and harm they're causing. They're targeting specific groups of people, those who are cognitively inclined, highly intelligent, knowledgeable about advanced technology, or interested in alternative research, conspiracy research. In general, they're either targeting empowered individuals with free minds to stop dissidents and revolutionaries, or those who are too poor and weak to fight back. Here's some things total individual control technology is able to do. This technology manipulates electrical signals in the brain, thus controlling thoughts and feelings and emotions and sensations throughout the body. It works by rewiring the brain, by creating new neural pathways and destroying existing neural pathways. Thus, this literally changes the way a person thinks and thus behaves. This technology can also be used to control the muscle movement of the target. It can take over one's hands or feet while driving, make you press the accelerator or press on the brake. It can be used to cause accidents. It can be used to prevent accidents from happening. I don't know if you've ever had your legs or arms or something shake uncontrollably. Yeah, they can do that. This technology can also tap into the optical nerve of the target and auditory system so that the monitor target can see what the target is seeing. I done did that one. This information is then downloaded and stored on a computer in a highly secure classified site on servers that are guarded by some of the tightest security in the world. Okay. The results in this results in the individual's entire day, everything they see, everything they hear, everything they experiment, everything experience and feel being recorded till the end of time. Now I don't know if it's that advanced, and it might be. I can't. But as far as uh, it may be recorded, but you can't. Somebody would have to go watch, like say, okay, say, I got a target and I got its information recorded or whatever, and I'm not no perp. I'm just saying, just say I'm just say I'm working with them. I log in to see what they've recorded the last week on you. Nobody's going to sit there and watch a week worth of footage through your eyes. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. So even if they do record 24/7, you still have to have somebody tap in there and watch it. There's too many targets for them to watch 24/7. Now, now, um, does that mean they don't catch some people does that mean they don't occasionally, log on and look through people's eyes and see what they're doing? No, it don't mean that. I'm sure they do that. All right, this technology can also, this information is then downloaded and stored on a computer. The results in the individual's entire day, everything they see, everything they hear, experiment being recorded till the end of time. It can be used to manipulate the emotions of the target, fear, love, and hate. Have you ever sat there one day, sometime, and just wonder why you're in a bad mood or why you're feeling hate or fear out of the blue? It can use to be beam in images and motion pictures into one's brain. Images and motion pictures that are so realistic, you think you are watching a movie or seeing something in reality. And I've experienced both of them. Now, if I told you, you probably wouldn't believe me on the situation the couple situations I went through. And it would take a while to explain. So I'm not going to go into it. If you'd like to hear about it, put it in the comments that you'd like to hear my experience. It's like a virtual 3D rendering takes place within the target's mind. The images and motion pictures manifest themselves in such a way that the target, if they're not aware that this technology is being used on them, will believe that there are natural thoughts and natural images. They sure will. This technology can also be used to induce and control dreams. It can be used to control dreams and sleep patterns, to cause one to sleep very deeply or to cause one not to sleep at all. What they do is they make, when Holly gets home and we're watching movies, they want to make me go to sleep, or they'll make her go to sleep. And I'll be up, just normal energy. I should have energy, but they just knock me out. And you can tell when you're getting put to sleep because it's uncontrollable drowsiness. Okay, REM cycles, alpha, beta, delta brainwaves can be induced immediately by this technology, and this technology can be used to mimic spiritual experiences. Joy, love, peace that passes understanding can all be artificially induced by this technology to make the target believe that they're having a genuine spiritual experience when they're not. Am I saying spiritual experiences don't exist? No, I've had a couple. Well, more than a couple. It can also be used to sexually manipulate the target and make them feel sexual arousal or turn off their sexuality altogether. It can stimulate them, it can shut them down at a moment's notice. It can also be used to manipulate the hormones of the target, thus lowering and raising estrogen and testosterone levels in men and women, respectively. It can also be used to read the thoughts of the target in real time. They can read your thoughts verbatim as they occur within your own mind. Anywhere from small groups of people from 10 to 20 to 100 to medium-sized groups of people, several thousands to 10,000s. This is done by creating a field effect where an entire field of electromagnetic energy is created in a geographical location, and any human being with that geographical location within that electromagnetic field affecting that geographic location will be affected by the technology. This can be used to induce a general mood in a population or crowd of people. It can be used to make them passive. It can be used to make them agitated. And it can be used to cause stop riots. Stop crime, start crime. Stop thoughts, start thoughts. Massive mind control on a citywide level. And if you notice, they always say they're experimenting on these weapons for crowd control, riot control. That's their excuse to get the go ahead to research these weapons and use these weapons. Okay. V2K literally pipes thoughts directly into people's heads without them knowing it. And here's an experience of somebody who was attacked. He was attacked once he went public. Claims he's been assaulted with a beta version, especially nasty piping thoughts into his head, such as "Everyone's against you. Please be quiet, or we're going to kill you. Don't work again, or we're going to kill you. You're the lab rat now, MFer." Attacks are attempting to turn him against. Anyway, that's another thing. But anyway, so the drive is to create a world DNA database. Um, so that they're wanting to and get everybody's DNA, because once they get your DNA, everybody's DNA is different and they can target it. Your DNA is basically a frequency that can be targeted. Your whole body's a frequency that can be targeted. It's what do they do when you go into cardiac arrest? They shock you. They put them things on you and shock your heart. Why? Because your body's electrical organism, biofield, whatever you want to say. Your body is electrical. Okay, so they manipulate TI victims to see a psychiatrist, then they bribe the psychiatrist to deliver a fake diagnosis. The victim's mentally unstable, deranged, delusional, crazy, incompetent, paranoid, schizophrenic, suffering from MPD or multiple personality disorder, or they invent some similar legal medical psychobabble diagnosis. This has the unfortunate effect of stripping away the victim's human rights, which leaves him or no recourse to fight against attackers, since his claims and testimonies will be dismissed as ravings of a madman. This is a similar tactic to what's used with other victims of mind control. So anyway, that's about the run of it, and I'm going to merge this video in with it. I got a quick announcement for you, real quick. I will be reading messages. I have been catching up on my messages. So if you've messaged me and I haven't messaged you back, I will finish catching up on them. Sometimes when I'm getting attacked, you can ask Holly, I don't feel like talking to nobody. I'll see all them messages and I'll be like, look, man, I don't feel like answering them. If you call me and I don't answer the phone for a couple of days, do not be offended. I just don't feel like talking, man. Sometimes, it's not all hunky dory for target individuals. And a lot of times we're in upset moods. We're going through it. We're realizing what we've had stripped away from us and all that. And, then we got V2K chatterbots in our ear 24/7 on top of getting hit and sweating profusely. So anyway, one more thing I was going to say, if you want to do an interview, please email me at hollyspunk@gmail.com. Okay, I'm going to merge the video in right now, and I hope this helps somebody understand what's going on.
Once I have your biocoded information about your biocode, I just transmit that off all the towers in the United States, and you're harassed no matter where you are.
There's a bioresonance to every individual, just like our fingerprint. Every person has an individual DNA, a different bioresonance. And so the original Stockland patent is on my website, where Stockland was able to go voice to skull with pulse transmissions in 92. And then after the rest of the development went black ops. We don't really know what happened after that. We knew we could put voices in group people's heads. What they did, and I know from the Russian translation, from Cheryl Welch, from reading all her translated psychotronic stuff from Russia, that they figured out how to biocode these microwaves so that it can attack specific individuals.
Once they have your DNA, they take the DNA and they put your DNA code in a supercomputer. And in that supercomputer, they run algorithms that biocode electromagnetic transmissions so they bioresonate with your body. Once they've done that, they can transmit that from satellites or cell towers or aircraft or any number of ways, and that signal will only affect you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, the cell phone towers and everything else as well.
Well, the towers are the Matrix. You know the movie The Matrix? As an example, if I go into a city location and I'm testing an environment, I can see probably anywhere from 30 to 60 Wi-Fi access points. So that means that you're saturated in microwave. That's all 2.4 gigahertz, microwave transmissions with 60 transmission access points that are sending and receiving.
The Human Genome Project was carried out at the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, where I was a staff scientist for 5 years. They were tracking people in the lab by the electromagnetic frequency emitted by individuals' DNA. The DNA in every living thing has a unique frequency and signal. That is what they're using, what they're focusing on, and what they're weaponizing to completely control us.
All they need is to kind of identify your DNA fingerprint like with your name, and then they can watch you 24 hours a day. This is one part. The other part
So we are running a GPS system?
Yes.
The way the technology works, the voice to skull, is to tap into the resonant frequency of the DNA of the individual, the targeted individual. And this allows total mind, spirit, and body control over the individual by those who are running this program. Since I saw on a daily basis how intimately involved in this program of voice to skull social engineering and gang stalking my private security company was, I couldn't help but notice that our client, one of the largest corporations in America and indeed the world, just happened to have a massive database of DNA on its property. A DNA database that stores the DNA of millions of Americans. Their emotions, their thoughts, their minds, their heartbeat, their muscle movements, their dreams, their thoughts. Everything they see and everything they hear is all recorded and manipulated by this technology. And all of this is made possible by the people running this program, utilizing the technology to tap into the resonant frequency of the individual's DNA.
So they can broadcast this from a satellite, a tower, over many, many miles. And yet only that particular person, the targeted individual with that particular physiological signature or DNA signature, will actually pick up the sent message, correct?
That is correct. The digital receiver is the human brain. Okay, so you could be standing in a room full of 100 people. The stream of energy, the stream of electromagnetic
hits everyone, but you're the only one who gets it. That's what I was saying, yeah.
It would pass right through and around everyone, and they would not even sense anything. But the victim would absorb the energy and feel its effects, because only the victim possesses that specific brainwave signature, which the stream of energy is tuned into. The supercomputer begins to monitor all electromagnetic activity of the victim's brain by way of this bidirectional stream of energy. Mm-hmm. And it begins to monitor and download all that information back into its database. The supercomputers are designed to clone, to download one's entire persona and psyche back into its database.
Because of my responsibilities in surveillance as a otherwise normal security specialist, I was showed this technology at work. And it was through the perspective, of course, of the camera, and what I was told that it was obvious it was being used through the eyes of the targets. So I have seen it, and it is absolutely remarkable. It's just like a first-person, video game or something where you see right through the eyes of the individual.
When we look through our eyes, there are photons hitting the outside of our face. They don't actually make it into the part that thinks. The part that thinks is looking at something else. It's looking at some kind of weird compressed signal.
Basically, those optical signals are interpreted by the brain, and then you perceive them as vision. You perceive them as pictures and so forth, but this is all electrical signals within the brain. And so the exact same thing, the data is taken in through the eyes, and then your brain renders it in a visual form that we know as sight. The exact same thing happens with the computer. The data is sent to the computer, then it is rendered in the form of a picture that people can look at.
Images, like natural images, like what I'm looking at, have so much structure that they can be shrunk and compressed into a very tiny, what AI people call representation. So what our brains seem to do is build a very, very good compressed representation of the world. Call it a model. So just like if I have a building and there's like a blueprint or a scale model of the building, imagine I have the whole world and all of its concepts, and I shrink it down into this weird compressed representation so that it fits inside my brain.
That same thing happens with the computer. The data is sent to the computer, and then it is rendered. And from what I understand, that's where this technology is right now. The cutting edge is trying to marry, the software that's used to render it on the computer and the actual detecting of the signal and the hacking of the signal within the human mind.
So the modern view of intelligence, or call it cognition more generally, is that it's a very important thing that we create models of the world inside our heads.
They're using two interfaces, like we said, the brain-to-computer interface. That's the supercomputer. The sophisticated and advanced exascale system downloads all of your, all electromagnetic activity, all these synaptic responses, the electromagnetic emissions of the victim's brain is downloaded at the speed of light. Energy travels at the speed of light, so they can download, upload at the speed of light.
Sure.
Back into a database as the supercomputer is programmed to build, using various software programs, a cognitive model of your brain.
And what we are trying to do is to use this precious knowledge to build machines that can actually create, manipulate, and use these parallel realities in the service of this one. We want to grab those parallel realities from this abstract space in which they live and crunch them down into this chip.
To eventually achieve direct behavioral control over you. And then based on, that cognitive model being complete, to begin to be able to predict and influence in advance the reference choices of the victim during thought composition. As the victim is formulating his thoughts and preparing to act, the supercomputer already has that persona and psyche, all your emotional state downloaded, every vector of your emotional state downloaded, so I can already predict and influence those events in your life in advance and achieve direct behavioral control over you.
And they had created a digital model of Earth and everybody in it, down to a digital GPS coordinates model up to even a vertical dimension of 1.5 centimeters, every building, every roadway, everything. And what they want to do is create an Internet of Things where in digital space they know exactly what you're doing in real time. They want to know in real time what shows you're watching, what sandwich you're eating, what part of the house you're walking around. They want to know everything.
Where they are literally just seeing what it's like for someone to eat a sandwich, what it's like the emotional response and the brain activity when someone is insulted, when someone gets love, when someone interacts with someone, all of these different aspects of the human experience, so that my original thought was that they are using it to be able to program the technology itself.
Robots as smart as people. Artificial intelligence, AI. The idea is to port the software from the human brain.
So what you've heard about AI is not what we mean by AI. What we mean by AI is a software system that can do literally anything that a human can do. Literally anything.
In fact, the very nature of the research and development program that is going on in Seattle, Washington, and I think by extension what's being done to TIs around the country is very largely geared towards the monitoring of human beings for the specific purpose of recording every aspect of human existence, to monitor our thoughts, to monitor our emotions and our feelings, to inform computer software that is used on robots, that is used on computers themselves, to make them as human-like as possible.
And obviously, computers are better at things than people in lots of different ways. So now imagine, not only can they do everything that a human can do, but they can do everything that the best human at any task could do better than them.
In 2003, they launched what's called the AI system, which is a intelligent supercomputer with the intelligence of a human being. In other words, a smart human being. But able to think 10 trillion times faster, with the access to all known knowledge and history, and a complete access to the internet and all of the communication pathways.
If in fact the algorithms that are now believed to underpin certain aspects of cognition can be run on a quantum computer, the kinds of life or kinds of species that you'll get from that will be qualitatively better. What you might get is a sentience which is fundamentally different and better, in the sense that they'll learn things faster, they'll have deeper insights, they'll be able to predict into the future farther, they'll be able to take actions that have access to understanding that we don't. That's in a sense what I'm talking about, is that if you could build an intelligence that had a deeper ability to speculate about the outcome of its actions, you might be able to get something that was qualitatively smarter. You would say, if you wanted to, it's hard to define intelligence, but qualitatively better to predict the future more effectively than any human biological brain could do.
So you're dealing with a system of remote neural networks. That's what's targeting you, okay? Remote neural networks, okay, with a will, intellect, and emotion of their own. The system, the RM supercomputer that's targeting you, okay, that uses one of these three relay stations, the tower, satellite, or mobile platform, it actually locks on to your emotional state. Once the cognitive model, this generic model is built, it begins to lock on to your emotional state, okay? And then it begins to not just to monitor, but to manipulate that emotional state. They need to map out all 7 vectors of the emotional state of the victim in order to create this cognitive model, this reverse engineered will, intellect, and emotion. That's your human soul, by the way, okay? The human soul is the will, intellect, and emotion of the victim. They figured out what to do with the human body. The 5 senses, they can pretty much achieve whatever they want by manipulation of the human anatomy with mind control technologies. Now they're going after the soul, the will, intellect, and emotion.
I could build, I think, a soul. Here's how I would do it. I copy you exactly into a digital environment. Everything about you. Imagine that was possible. It probably is. So if I copy you into a machine, that copy process has all of the properties we were talking about as being a soul. First of all, it's immaterial, because copying, that's not a thing, it's a process. It's immortal. It's just like you. You can put it in any environment you want, heaven, hell, make a simulation. So, all of these things that reside in our heads, these abstract concepts, I think that eventually we can build them, and we have to decide what we want to build.
They are building false realities into which they want to induct you so they can play God.